We had informed, or we have informed the Canadian government that there should be parity of strength and rank equivalence in our diplomatic presence, or mutual diplomatic presence. We think that the numbers are much higher, and those details are being worked out, and we think that hence the number there'll be reduction. So yes, I presume this is pursuant to our conversation or request. Siddhant, on the issue of Canadian visa, right? You asked that first term. Look, I don't want to get into visa requirements of foreign governments, but yes, we have seen reports and heard some things, and if there are cases where we believe that our people are not being given a fair treatment or there been discrimination, we do take these things up. But I would not like to comment on individual cases. But yes, discrimination in how visas are granted by the Canadian side is something of concern, and there have been cases in the past. But I would not like to go into individual responses. Yeshi, and I think that somebody else also asked this. Look, we had issued a press release, I think on the 19th it was, I have a copy here, where we said, yes, these allegations were raised by Prime Minister Trudeau with Prime Minister, and Prime Minister rejected them. I think that's pretty clear about it, so let me reiterate that. I think the same response, I think somebody else raised, that yes, those were raised and they were rejected. Parikshit, e-visas, yes, e-visas also are on temporary suspension. They also, because they would at some point also involve our functioning of our High Commission, our diplomats there, all categories. You said which categories? I think Parikshit, sorry, I missed you somewhere in the back. Yeah, all categories of visas are suspended. Let me explain again. The issue is not about travel to India. The question is not about travel to India. Those who have valid visas, those who have other kind of documents like OCIs are free to travel to India. But the issue is of incitement to violence, the inaction by the Canadian authorities, and a creation of an environment that disrupts the functioning of our High Commission and consulates. That's what's making us stop temporarily this issuance of visas or providing visa services. And as I said, we will be reviewing the situation on a regular basis. Amity, you raised the issue of the Canadian diplomats facing threats here. We take our obligations of Vienna Conventions very seriously. And if there are specific threats and things, I'm sure they are in touch with our security agencies, and we will certainly providing all security and all support to foreign diplomats in India. We would accordingly also expect that the Canadian authorities show similar sensitivity to posters threatening assassination and incitement to violence against our diplomats, attacks on our premises, or such kind of threats, and take their obligations under the Vienna Conventions a little more seriously. Kalol, PhD question on how we look at rule of law. We certainly abide by rule of law. I think if there is a doubt on that, we have in a different conversation. We would, and this leads me to the question some of you asked. We have been sharing details of fugitives from justice who have run away, who are seeking safe havens in Canada and elsewhere, to come back to India and face justice, whether it's economic fugitives or it's terrorists. I think that's the way rule of law works. I don't even know what else to tell you how to handle. Easier would be if the host governments, where they're seeking safe havens, take action against such terrorists. Raza, yes, the advisory was comprehensive. There was a term called politically condoned activities, hate crimes. You said alacrity. They didn't respond with alacrity. I would go further and say they did not take it at all. It seems there is a feeling that these are part of freedom of expression or whatever you call it, and such hate crimes are being condoned in the political environment and the political system. And certainly that is something of concern, and we have flagged it. सुनीता, आपका प्रश्न था इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स के बारे में. देखिए, इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स जो वहाँ पे हैं, हमने जैसे कहा एडवाइजरी हमने इशू किया है. हमारे हाई कमीशन, हमारे काउंसुलेट्स वहाँ चल रहे हैं, काम हो रही है. उनमें कोई दिक्कत हो उनसे कांटेक्ट करें, पर हमने एडवाइजरी में कहा है कि एहतियात बरतें, देखें क्या हो रहा है. ऐसे स्पेसिफिक कोई हमारे पास और एडिशनल इनपुट्स अभी नहीं है. ये प्रश्न किसी और ने भी पूछा था कि हमारे स्टूडेंट्स जो है उनको वीज़ा, हमारे वीज़ा पॉलिसी से कोई उनको फ़र्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए, वो इंडियन सिटीजन्स हैं. और कनाडा क्या करेगी, ये कैनेडियन अथॉरिटी से आपको पूछना पड़ेगा. मैं उसके बारे में कुछ कह नहीं पाऊँ. Rishabh, your question was a follow-up to why this particular step is being taken on parity of strength and rank equivalence. Frankly, yes. The reason is that we have seen Canadian diplomatic interference in our internal affairs. This is a factor that is being taken into account for seeking parity in strength and rank equivalence. Somebody asked, I think, Krishnan, you asked about specifics of some action. Look, these are not things that are to be released publicly, so I'm not in a position to share the same. विजय लक्ष्मी जी, आपने कहा था आपने कहा था सैन फ्रांसिस्को कॉन्सुलेट में कोई अपडेट ऐसा नहीं है. आपने देखा होगा हमारे सिक्योरिटी एजेंसीज ने कोई लिस्ट निकाली है, उनका वो कोऑपरेशन चल रहा है यूएस के साथ, और हम चाहते हैं कि जो इसमें पीछे थे उनके ऊपर एक्शन लिया जाए. आई थिंक कोऑपरेशन चल रही है यूएस अथॉरिटीज के साथ, पर ये हमारे दायरे में नहीं आता है उतना. कोई अपडेट हो तो हमारी तरफ से हम बताएंगे आपको. मुकेश कौशिक, आपने पूछा था, आपने बड़ा ही टेढ़ा क्वेश्चन पूछा था. मैं किसी और केस के साथ कोई कंपैरिजन नहीं करना चाहता हूं. लेट मी क्लैरिफाई. वहां सेफ हेवंस दे रहे हैं कनाडा में, वहां पे हम चाहेंगे कि उनके कैनेडियन सरकार सेफ हेवंस न दें, और जिनके अगेंस्ट ऐसे टेररिज्म के चार्जेस हैं उनके ऊपर एक्शन ले, और वहाँ इधर उनके वहाँ एक्शन ले या हमें यहाँ जस्टिस फेस करने के लिए यहाँ भेजे. मुझे पूछा गया था, आई थिंक somebody asked how many such cases were there. My understanding is over 20 individuals. I don't have exact number. That's for security agencies. We have sought either extradition requests or other kind of assistance related to that. So at least more than 20, maybe 25 individuals we have requested over, and not just recently. So many years we've been requesting, and the response has not been helpful at all. Avinash, your question was third countries, Canadian citizens applying. Yes, also will be applicable. Canadian citizens in third countries will also be subject to the same temporary visa suspensions, because at some point this comes through our High Commission, our consulates need to be involved in that process. So that's not going to happen.